It was a winter morning in a quiet Utah suburb. A mother of two missed work. Her children never made it to daycare. Her cell phone went straight to voicemail. The house was empty, the car was gone, and the only person with answers claimed he took his sons camping in the middle of the night during a snowstorm. This is the tragic and twisted disappearance of Susan Powell. Susan was 28 years old. She lived in West Valley City, Utah, with her husband Josh and their two young boys, Charlie and Braden. From the outside, they looked like a typical family. They were active in their local church. Susan worked as a stockbroker. Josh was a computer programmer. But behind closed doors, things weren't so perfect. Susan had confided in friends and co-workers about serious problems in her marriage. Josh was controlling, angry, and erratic. He kept a tight grip on the family finances. He isolated her from others. He refused to attend counselling, and he had developed a deep obsession with money and power. Susan started keeping a journal. She told her friends, "If something happens to me, look at Josh." On December 6, 2009, the Powell family spent a quiet Sunday at home. A neighbour saw Susan and the kids playing outside that afternoon. She later spoke to a friend on the phone around 5 p.m. She sounded tired but normal. That was the last time anyone heard from her. The next morning, December 7, neither Susan nor Josh showed up for work. The daycare provider called the grandparents when no one dropped off the children. Friends and family grew concerned and called the police. Officers broke into the house. Inside they found Susan's purse, phone and keys. 2 box fans were set up near a wet spot on the carpet, and the house was otherwise neat and quiet. Then Josh returned with his 2 sons. He said he had taken the boys on a spontaneous camping trip to Simpson Springs, a remote area in the Utah desert, at 12:30 a.m. during a snowstorm on a Sunday night. No one believed him. Susan was officially reported missing. Search teams were deployed across Utah. Dogs, helicopters and ground crews combed the desert. But there was no sign of her, and Josh stopped cooperating with police almost immediately. He refused to take a polygraph. He hired a lawyer. He denied any involvement. Investigators found Susan's blood on the tile floor near the wet spot. They discovered a handwritten will in which she expressed fear for her life, and they learned about the toxic dynamic in the Powell household, not just with Josh, but with his father, Stephen. Stephen Powell was later revealed to be obsessed with Susan. He had secretly recorded her, stolen personal items, and written graphic journals describing his fantasies about her. Susan had been uncomfortable around him for years. The case took another dark turn in 2011 when Stephen Powell was arrested for voyeurism and child pornography. During the investigation, police seized computers and journals from the Powell family. Still, Susan was nowhere to be found. Later that year, Josh lost custody of his sons. He moved to Washington State to live with his father and was only allowed supervised visitation. By 2012, Susan's family was still fighting for answers. Her father, Chuck Cox, remained outspoken. He believed Josh had killed her. Authorities agreed, but without a body, they had no way to make an arrest. Then came the worst possible ending. On February the 5th, 2012, during a supervised visit, Josh Powell locked a social worker outside his home. Inside, he attacked his 2 sons with a hatchet, then set the house on fire. All 3 died in the explosion. The boys were just 5 and 7 years old. The social worker, helpless on the front steps, called 911, but it was too late. Josh had planned it. He had withdrawn money, donated the children's toys, and sent final emails. It was a murder-suicide designed to end the investigation and punish Susan's family one last time. The public was horrified. In the months that followed, the case remained open. but the main suspect was dead. In 2013, investigators revealed they had found over 400 images of cartoon child pornography on a computer Josh had once used. It painted an even darker picture of his mental state. Despite extensive searches, Susan's remains have never been recovered. In 2019, a team of cold case investigators re-examined abandoned mine shafts in Utah's West Desert. Tips pointed towards several specific locations, but again, no body was found. Susan Powell is still officially listed as a missing person. Her family believes she was murdered and buried in the desert not long after she vanished. They continue to share her story, not just in hopes of finding her, but to advocate for domestic violence awareness and better protection for children in high-risk custody cases. Susan Powell's story is not just about a disappearance. It's about a woman who tried to escape, who feared for her safety, who left behind a trail of warnings no one could act on in time. She went out for groceries, she never came home, and the people who might have helped her arrived too late. If you or someone you know is experiencing abuse or control, help is available, because sometimes the signs are there, but the system moves too slow, and sometimes justice never comes.